I'd like to talk about two stories in particular right now. The first is about how Texas Democrats failed to, stay out of the state with the redistricting standoff, and I talked about that on a previous segment that you might have caught, and I'll put that up on the card in this corner once I get into the editing chamber and suffer for you. So it was very brave of them, I thought, to leave the state denying Texas quorum in order, which, for those of you who don't know, basically Texas is in an unprecedented fashion. You're supposed to change the maps of your elections every 10 years, but Texas, literally because Trump called Governor Abbott of Texas up, they are doing it halfway through. They're doing it in the fifth year, and they're going to make it so that explicitly they can take away 5 Democratic seats and turn them Republican. Now that has some trade-offs and some possibly unexpected consequences, but the most likely outcome is that will be like 5 more Republicans in the House. And this is a way for Trump to obviously avoid any consequences of his unpopular actions before the midterms, where Americans are known to kind of just like whip whoever is president. You know what I mean? They usually have like some whiplash between the election when they ask for policy and then like the midterms when they actually see the results of that policy. Americans almost always hate their own choices. So Trump is trying to head that off by forcing Texas to do this, and Texas is happy to. You know what I mean? He doesn't really have to force them. He just called them up and said, "Hey, we're doing this," and they said, "Yes, boss." Yeah, boss. And it had the very predictable result, which is that they passed the fucking new districts. They passed it, and now the country is even less fair than it was before. And of course, this was avoidable because Democrats could have forced Republicans and even the presidency. I don't know how far it would have gone to explore other paths to make this happen. You know what I mean? This map was probably going to happen regardless. But I want to kind of push back against something that I've seen, which is basically people saying that the Texas Democratic representatives were a bunch of small beans. They're just regular people. Representatives in that state representatives don't get paid very much. Many of them have a second job, or being a representative is their second job. And therefore, we should not be upset in any way that they returned home. And I just don't agree with this sentiment, and I feel like it is very confusing to me, especially coming from liberals. And I'll explain why. I think most liberals agree that Trump is like an authoritarian, dictatorial piece of shit, and that Greg Abbott is a neo-Confederate traitor who is hell-bent on undermining democracy. He doesn't believe in democracy. He wants to cheat and steal his way to to power, just like everybody in his ideological strain. Hey, Dird, welcome to the chat, and I see you're a first-timer. Thanks for coming by. So, if liberals believe these things about Trump and the Republicans, if they believe that they're so authoritarian, which I do, then it's puzzling to me when people who have signed up for public service have an opportunity to stand in the path of this fascism and are kind of given a pass. How are you? I'm chilling, dude. I found a way to cool my room during stream that doesn't fuck with the audio too much, and that has made my life a lot easier. So I'm able to kind of sit here comfortably, and I think I should be able to knock out like 14 segments today. So I'm good. How are you? And of course, like, this is all on the backdrop of the Kamala Harris campaign, where she said repeatedly that, I mean, Trump would do this basically. She said that he would use troops against democratic cities, which was also true. And she said that he would kiss the ass of dictators around the world, which is definitely true. She was right about so many things. So it's kind of weird that people are just kind of saying, no, it's fine that they go home. They have bills to pay. You know, this isn't, we can forgive them. Because I feel like every minute that they're out of state forces Republicans into confrontation, and that's good. That's every confrontation between the Democrats and the Republicans is a chance to show how evil and how authoritarian the Republicans are. So, like, I think this was a missed opportunity, and we had even seen like Governor Pritzker talking about putting up money to to keep them out of state. To keep them in safe places so that it would be as hard as possible for Trump to go after them. And I think that is a confrontation that, like, fans of democracy across the country in the court of public opinion could get behind. Now we're in a very weird position where they've returned to the to play by the rules. The Republicans are still breaking the rules. They literally kidnapped some Democratic people. You know, they kidnapped some of these people, forced them to stay in the state house unless they could spy on them with armed guards. So like I don't think that was the right move. I think they should have stayed out of the state instead of coming back. And I'm not particularly sympathetic to the idea that because they're normal people, they shouldn't step up. I think that if not people who choose to serve the public, then who is supposed to step up? You know what I mean? And it almost feels like Democrats are willing to posture like they're fighting fascism, but they're not. Like, if they're willing to make any sacrifices at all, any at all, I have no idea who they expect to make those sacrifices. I guess the people at the very bottom getting fucked by Republican policies. Because, like, you know, even, what's his name? Kamala Harris's husband works for a law firm, and that law firm is doing pro bono services for Donald Trump, and he's still a partner there. And I'm like, you're super rich, man. Like, quit. Like, I don't know that these people actually believe what they're saying when they say that Trump is a fascist, even though I certainly believe it. It's like, since I believe it, I know what I would do in their position. And it's very different from what they're doing, and it makes me question their values. What happened in DC the other day, the military? Oh, Donald Trump sent the military into DC. I've talked about this before, but he sent the military into DC because he's trying to provoke confrontation, something that the Democrats don't seem to understand and don't know how to play that game. He's trying to provoke confrontation by going to blue cities, by going to the places that right-wing creators, content creators, and news outlets have been meticulously targeting and portraying as evil and subhuman to their audience for literally decades. And he's trying to make a scene. So far, he hasn't done much. You can check out my segment about the guy who threw a sandwich at someone in DC. He threw like a sandwich at federal guards, and they're trying to like put him in jail for 8 years. But he's one of Trump's employees. So he's now actually moving on to Chicago, and I'm going to have that up in my next segment, so we'll have to get back to it. But he's trying to do the same thing in other blue cities. It didn't work in LA. It didn't work in Washington, D.C. But I think that he might be onto something, and that it's only a matter of time before something goes south and someone makes a mistake or someone does something rash, and then that'll be an excuse for all kinds of evil shit. And Trump's voter base has been primed over the decades. Like, if you know anyone who listened to Rush Limbaugh even, or if you've ever watched Fox News, you know that cities like Seattle, Chicago, Washington, D.C., L.A., New York City, like, they are portrayed as, like, literally hordes of shambling zombies. And the purpose of dehumanizing us like that, I live in one of those cities, is for this exact kind of confrontation later down the road. These people don't believe in democratic society. They literally just want to take and take and take from anybody who's in their way, and they'll turn on each other and start fighting each other if they manage to get us out of the way. But I think we should fight to the end no matter what. And I think we should fight them fully on every front available to us. So to say I'm disappointed in these Texas Democrats is a huge understatement.